Hey guys, it's Shelby, otherwise known as Shelbizleee here on YouTube, and today we are talking about a not so sexy topic because for some reason, talking about topics that are not sexy like zero waste in the trash jar, they just don't seem to do as well on social media. But you might know that I actually have a background in environmental science, so my profession and my expertise goes far beyond just telling you how to reduce your waste. It actually has a lot to do with land use and things like climate change and all that sort of stuff. So this video is going to incorporate all of those sort of things, and if you really care about topics outside of that, things that still have to do with sustainability but not just reducing your waste, make sure you give this video a thumbs up because it helps YouTube promote these types of videos to more people about important information outside of just the basics. Because this video does have a little bit to do with smart investing and money, this video is brought to you by Swell Investing. We'll talk more about them later on in the video, but if you want to get a free $50 to start investing in sustainable things today, check the link in the description. So I have a pretty extensive list that I've been keeping on my phone of sustainability lessons that we learned while purchasing a home. So I can make this video a 3-part series if you want. Let me know. If you do find enough value in this video, then we will go beyond. But one of the first things I wanted to talk about while we were purchasing this home is why we purchased a 2-story home. People have already started asking me why we didn't buy like a condo apartment situation, why we didn't buy a tiny home, and I do kind of want to cover that topic. I don't know if it'll be in this video, maybe in another video I'll talk about that, but specifically why we purchased a 2-story home, this one, instead of like a 1-story home, is because it takes up a lot less land resources. So like I said, my expertise goes far beyond zero waste, and whenever you're purchasing a home, no matter where it is, whether you bought it somewhere in a wooded area or whether you bought it in the desert, no matter where, something was living on that land before you were. So maybe specifically where we were, this maybe used to be wooded with oak trees and things like birds and squirrels used to make it their home. If you're buying a home in the desert, maybe snakes or spiders or scorpions or something like that, that dirt, that sand was their home before. And whenever you build 1,500 square feet onto the ground, that takes up 1,500 square feet of land. Whereas if you buy a 1,500 square foot house that is 2 stories, it takes up half the amount of land as it would if it was a 1-story house. This is important because we're taking up a lot less land resources, disturbing the environment a lot less, and so we're helping the animals who lived here centuries before we did, not to disturb their habitat quite as much. I think as Americans, we tend to get like, this is my land and this is my American dream, but there are things that are impacted by our decisions beyond us, and I really wanted to make that announcement in this video to take things into consideration other than just what you want. So other things that have to do with, you know, your square footage of your yard and that sort of thing is you don't need some huge extensive yard. Whenever we were purchasing a home, our realtor and our friends and our family kept telling us, oh, but are you gonna get one of those houses with like a really little yard in the suburbs? And I think a lot of people think of like a lot of outdoor space as people who love the outdoors and who want to be outside, but realistically, how often do you use your front and backyards? I don't know about you, but I personally wouldn't use ours very much for more than like building a compost or building a garden. So I didn't want a huge extensive yard because again, that's me taking up resources for things that live there just to make it my own. And what I hope really becomes more and more popular, and I know with my generation it already is, but using shared spaces instead of feeling the need to feel ownership over so much land. Because realistically, that land just sits there whether you're using it or not. And it's just you, right? But whenever you go to a park, like that's a shared resource, right? So if you do want to have a barbecue, it doesn't have to be at your house. It can go and be in a shared space. That way that land isn't sitting there being taken up by you, but not being used by you in your backyard. It can be a public space where other people are using it, and even animals and stuff that do live there, they're also able to use it whenever you're not. So an important lesson to keep in mind whenever you're purchasing a home or renting a home or any of those sort of things is to keep in mind who else you're impacting by what you're owning and you're buying. So I switched up the location. I hope this is a little bit better. I don't know if you like this, or if you don't, you can always let me know what you think of my new backgrounds and all that good kind of stuff. But I wanted to keep talking about some things that maybe people don't think about when they're moving in general. This doesn't always have to be if you're buying a home. It can be literally if you're moving into an apartment, specifically for this one especially. I told you at the beginning we're going to be talking about some more complex issues, and one of the ones I mentioned was climate change. And maybe you're wondering, how does climate change have to do with purchasing a home? There are so many things to keep in mind when purchasing a home, and climate change is one of them because of flood zones. So you might know that climate change is something that is happening unless you don't believe in it. Science is not something to believe in. It is not the tooth fairy. But as climate change continues to progress, we're going to be seeing more and more extreme weather events. For example, specifically in the US, or specifically in Texas, I should say, we've had 100-year floods almost every year for the last 3 years. How does that work? Climate change. So it's really important to make sure that whenever you buy a home, whatever that investment is that you are going to be putting your money into, even if this is an apartment complex, you don't want to start paying money on something and then it flood and you lose that entire investment that you made. So definitely pay attention to flood zones, because wherever they are, even if you are, outside of the technical flood zone, but still kind of close to it, those flood zone lines are moving every single year closer and closer to inland, and it's actually a huge problem in Texas right now, us having to redraw our flood zones, because everything has been flooding in the summers recently with extreme weather events like hurricanes. So definitely keep that in mind whenever you're making a huge investment like a home. Don't make an investment in a place where it could just all be taken away from you by something completely out of your control. So I've made a huge investment in a home, and it's really important to make sure that investment was made smart and sustainably, and that's why I partnered with Swell Investing on this video. So you might be able to guess what Swell Investing is just by me saying it, but they are an investment company that helps you invest in only sustainable things. So for example, when I used to work for the state, I do plan on making a video about that someday, what my old job was and that sort of stuff. But when I did used to work for the state, still I had a 401k. Well, I still have my 401k. And the money that I was investing into that 401k was then being reinvested into things that I had no control over. So for instance, literally I could have been giving money to my 401k and then they were taking that money and investing it into things like big oil. Like my money could have been going to those big oil companies to invest in their infrastructure, and I would never do that knowingly with my own dollar. So why would I allow the biggest place that I'm investing money to go to something like that? I definitely want to be more in control of where my money goes, and I want it to go to things that I believe that the future is, like green energy. So specifically for Swell, they have 6 different areas of investing that they do. One of them is zero waste, which is so stinking cool. They also have green tech, renewable energy, healthy living, and all of those sort of things that you would actually choose to put your money behind. And if that didn't already sound cool enough, it gets even better, let me tell you. If your real passion lies with like green energy for cars for the future, so say green cars, but you don't have the type of capital to go and buy Tesla stock because that is not cheap, you can get started investing with Swell with just $50. And you can allocate your money specifically to things like green cars for the future. Even if you don't have enough money to buy an exact Tesla stock, you can still support innovations like that with Swell Investing for as little as $50. And what's really cool, since I get to work with Swell on this video, they are offering you guys $50 to start investing today. All you have to do is click the link in the description and go check them out. Even if you don't start investing, even if you're not ready for that yet, definitely click the link and do some research into what things you should be investing in, what there is out there for you to put your money behind, instead of putting it behind things like big oil companies. No one wants to be supporting something that they would never support with their dollar knowingly, so why would you be giving the biggest amount of money that you're investing in to things that you would never support? So make sure you check them out. They are linked in the description. A free $50 to get started with sustainable investing is amazing. So don't miss this opportunity. I wanted to talk about appliances. And when I was in school, one of the things we learned about and that really got under my skin, it really bothers me, is something called planned obsolescence. And what that is whenever companies plan for the things that you buy to fail. And this is really prevalent in household appliances because things used to be built to be able to be repaired. There was an entire market of people who would come to your house and fix your appliances. But when's the last time someone you know or you hired anyone to fix something in your house? Right? Appliances become almost not disposable. I don't want to say they're disposable because they are still worth quite a bit of money, but they're not as expensive as they used to be, and they're definitely not built the way they used to be. So parts of your refrigerator and your oven and your microwave used to be able to be repaired. Like I said, you could hire someone to fix it. Nowadays, companies make it to where they can only be used for so long, like your microwave is only going to last you for so long, and then they're going to make it so cheap to replace, but so expensive to fix plastics, they're gonna make all the components of that microwave so hard to get into and make the parts so expensive that it doesn't make sense for you to hire someone else to repair it. Instead, you're just gonna replace it instead of going through all that hassle. And so it's something really important to keep in mind when you're purchasing appliances for a new house, a new apartment, even a new dorm maybe, that the thing that you're going to be buying can be repaired, and that the appliance manufacturer that you're supporting is not someone who is all in on trying to make it really difficult for you to repair anything. And I did a lot of research on this, so I'll go ahead and link the blog post below if I have it done. I haven't finished it yet, but if it's not done by now, it'll be in the description box eventually, and I'll also send it out through my email list eventually. And the last thing I want to talk about that it is much more in line with the things that I typically talk about is that there are so many synthetic fibers in everything that has to do with buying a home, you guys. From your carpets, to your rugs, to your curtains, to your couches, like it's everywhere. Everything is made of synthetic materials. Like even when I was going to look for linen curtains, I had to specifically search for linen curtains and then make sure that it didn't just say linen style curtains, because apparently linen style polyester curtains are a thing. It's everywhere. And you know, I think that education around microplastics and synthetic fibers is getting to be more and more, specifically with clothing, but we should probably take into consideration like things like carpet, because that's so much more prevalent than clothing. Well, maybe not, maybe it just seems like a lot more, but either way, it's definitely contributing to microplastics and something we should take into consideration when buying new things for our home. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, you guys. Like I said, it would really help me out if you gave this video a thumbs up, because this is not the sexiest topic to talk about, and I want more people to know about things like this because it's important to me and it's really where my expertise lies anyway. So if you could give this video a thumbs up, it really helps me out, and it also really helps me out when you support my sponsors. So thank you to Swell Investing for sponsoring this video. They're giving you again free $50 to start investing in sustainable things. How cool is that? So make sure you check them out. And remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. And if you want to see another installment of this video, if it does well, if people like it, I'll make another one, because I learned a lot of things when buying a new home that has to do with other than zero waste, but still sustainable living. Bye, guys.